Technical difficulties is what it sounds like we're having.
We just started muting him when he says ridiculous speculation, so he can get direct speculation.
We still can't hear you, Randall. I'm sorry, buddy. Welcome to Reckless Speculation. Randall's working on his mic right now. We'll let him try and fix that. Robbie Davis, man, how's it going?
Hey, man, after a disappointing sports weekend, I've had a little excitement today. GME is back bouncing around, and so that's been entertaining a little bit this week. How have you been?
I'm good,
Nothing
man.
like technical difficulties as you enter the airwaves, as you go to make your greeting. You've worked all week on this hot open, how you're dedicating this episode to the broke NFL quarterbacks, and then your mic breaks. What are you going to do?
Well, let's go. Start over.
Let's start over. Welcome to Reckless Speculation. Today, I'm lounging. You know why? Because it's in honor of all the quarterbacks that got paid this week. Robbie Davis, do you ever think you should have joined the NFL law team? Just represent players. Find you a quarterback.
I was just talking to Shane before you got on. I don't need that kind of money. I have 50 shares of GME. I don't need quarterback money.
You don't need quarterback money. Okay. Well, we'll leave Robbie behind after that comment. And we'll move on to Brandon Shane. Shane, welcome.
What's going on?
Welcome. You're the only guy that got put out in the first two rounds that was happy about it. Just winning a game made you feel good.
Yeah, definitely thought Loyola was going to beat us. Just Sister Jane's got that curse, so I was really happy just to win one game. I never had us making it past the second round, so I was happy.
The opening segment is called We Suck as Fans. Of course, Raj is not here, so we'll start with Raj. As you get to see Trojans out in the first round to a Miami team now that's in the Sweet 16, that's got a path, Father, playing an 11 seed. I think we made a mistake by just saying we all said that USC had the path to the final eight, Elite Eight.
Not me.
I just think we overlooked Miami a little bit.
I had Miami all the way.
This far?
I don't know if they made it this far, but I had them beating USC, and I have to look at my bracket if I've got them beating
we'll get to
the
it
next
later.
round.
Robbie Davis.
Anyway.
Robbie Davis, did you think USC falls opening round?
I mean, to me, this quadrant of the whole entire bracket was the most wide open. Auburn being the high seed, Wisconsin being the second. I mean, if LSU didn't fire Will Wade, who knows where they would be. It's USC, Miami. I went back and forth. I picked USC just because I didn't want to be wrong if Raj was right. And so that was really my tipping point. But Jim Larinaga has been here. He's been to a Final Four with George Mason. He knows this tournament. He knows his team prepared. Andy Enfield is as well. But yeah, I mean, it's one of those. I thought both teams were capable of beating Auburn. Auburn had just, I don't know how else to say it, but bleeped the bed towards the end of the season. They fell off. They hit a wall. It looked like Jabari Smith and Kessler did not want to be there. They just exited stage right or left, or whichever one is bad.
Whichever one leaves.
Yeah, whichever one gets you off stage for good.
Let's talk about our Vols. I feel
you don't want to hear Brandon's take. He's the one that says he's got.
I actually do. You can look at it right here. I don't know if you can see the screen. It doesn't focus in, but I do
If
have.
you had your MacBook, we could see it.
Yeah, Yeah. So I do have Miami in the Sweet 16. I had them losing to Wisconsin.
I also had that.
So yeah. Anyway, that's what it is. No, we talked about this. I told Raj that Miami's a dangerous team, and he knew that. You know, he said this team is, you know, legit this year, and USC has been almost similar to Ohio State as far as inconsistencies. I mean, they've got great talent. They're not a deep team, and nor was Ohio State. And I think that kind of gets you when you've got to play so many games consecutively in these long runs. So coming off tournaments and everything else, yeah, I definitely liked Miami here. And yeah, I've got them in the Sweet 16. And now after watching them play, I wish I could redo my bracket and move them up to the Elite Eight, but unfortunately I have them losing in the Sweet 16.
All right. Well, I just want to move on now because I want to get over with the Tennessee stuff before Raj gets on.
Yeah, let's go.
Because he kept saying Colorado State, Michigan beats Tennessee. They do. I feel almost justified in screaming Michigan should have been in the tournament all for the last 2 weeks. But Robbie, Tennessee had the shooting night. Basically, the Tennessee, one of the podcasts said, this is the game we've been waiting 2.5 months for. It just came at the wrong time.
Yeah, and so what I have learned as Tennessee has gotten better and better over the years and have had expectations is, as a kid, I loved this tournament because it was, you have your chance. As you get older and you have expectations, this tournament is brutal because one bad night, you're done. I think back on the I think it was the 86-87 Lakers Celtics finals, the massacre at the Garden, where Boston beat the Lakers like 32. Next game, come back, Lakers win, going to win the series. That's how basketball works in most settings. You play 7 games or best of 5, and you can survive a bad night. This tournament doesn't do that. It doesn't allow you to do that. But yes, you're right. Look, this was always how this season was going to end. If it ended, was a Tennessee team getting open shots and missing them, because that's what the Barnes offense does. It gets you open shots, but you've got to make them. And I just wonder if one of those that rattled in and popped out, if one of those goes, does you get confidence? But I'll give credit to Michigan. I will disagree with you on this. I still don't think they deserve to be in the tournament. They got hot. They got an easy Colorado State draw. They got hot.
Right.
They ended up in the Final Four, and that's how this thing is. Just because your result is one thing doesn't mean you deserve to be in it. But that's how it is. But that number one, the center from Michigan, played out of his mind, and it was a matchup. I didn't realize how bad of a matchup it could be if their front court played so well.
So Hunter Dickinson down the stretch through the Big Ten tournament and the SEC and the NCAA tournament is averaging 20 plus, 10 rebounds plus, and is playing at a level that if Michigan goes far in this tournament, he's an all-tournament type player. So credit to Michigan. I had to give them the salute. I work in a quad with 2 Michigan graduates, so we said it earlier. Your goal is to get in the tournament, and sooner or later it breaks your way, and that's what Tennessee's got to keep doing.
Yeah, I agree. I will never salute to Michigan, though. I can tell you that. But they got hot. Dickerson's playing out of his mind. He's hitting free throws. He's rebounding. He's shooting threes. He's posting up. I mean, it was just a bad catch for Tennessee. They could have won the game. They, like Robbie said, they did not hit shots. And we've all seen when Tennessee doesn't make the ball, it doesn't shoot well, they lose the game. I mean, that's just that offense. Their defense was fantastic. A little matchup problems with Dickerson, but still sustainable. It was tough because, I'm not a Vols fan, but I had them, winning the whole tournament. They had that caliber of a team this year. But it's not always the best team that wins. It's the team that's hot, and I still think, Michigan was on the edge, probably shouldn't even been here, but they are, and they're making the best of it. So, again, this is March Madness, There is no telling. You cannot put a number 1 seed on the winner's circle or line by any means because it's crazy.
All right, so Rod, welcome in.
What's up, buddy?
Thank you.
Let's move on real
Chilling,
fast.
bro. How are you?
You're right on time, baby.
Did we talk about how athletic the Michigan Bigs were and how that's a downfall for Tennessee, or did we talk about how they were 2 for 18 from 3, which I said is going to be their
we weren't
downfall?
going to talk about Tennessee after you got on, so sorry,
No.
you missed.
Yeah,
We did
I'm
talk
equally
about
depressed.
We did talk about USC getting beat by Miami earlier, though.
Yeah, we skipped that one too.
When you have a 7-footer
18
that can run a pick and roll, top of the key, shoot the 3 and making it, there's very little you could do because if you come up, then you got Fulkerson, your big man against the guard. He goes around. It was just when you're that hot, it's a matchup nightmare.
Yeah,
He did get a lot of calls, though. I mean, he was kind of shackish, but there was a lot of – you can call that on any play. Speaking of calls, did we talk about how the refs called a foul with 3 seconds left on a phantom call against USA and Miami? Just in case, because that's a great draw that Miami has. I know we're getting to it, but you guys were right. Auburn, when I saw them, their guards were so overrated. Pretty easy team to match up with, especially with bigs. And now they get Iowa State, and Miami's going to beat them. It's a bummer, but that's the way the ball bounces. But yeah, UT. I'm sure we talked about Barnes. Their time is coming. It's just when people talk about firing a guy that's 250 and 10. It's just silly.
Yeah, and let me address that. For any Vol fan who legitimately thinks Tennessee is in a worse spot with Barnes than without Barnes is a complete moron. Like, that's just idiotic. So, and I'd literally just discount any opinion that says that. It is just stupid.
So
And
bad.
I'd be
I don't
happy
disagree.
to come on here and talk about it. I'd be love to talk about it. That's
I'm
I
getting
don't disagree. I know. Everybody's all – so, yeah, consensus is all 4 of our teams lost.
Yeah, rough weekend. I don't
Lost
know.
within the first 2 rounds. So, it's been a rough March Madness. I think Randall's gone on to MLB. He's hardcore into MLB and Braves now.
I don't drink, as everybody knows. I have a reason I don't drink. I ate 8,000 calories after that game. It was at least 10 plates of Chinese food. I was so distraught. It might have been the most distraught I've been over a basketball game since that Michigan State game where I thought we were going to the Final Four and they hit a shot at the end. It was in the top 2 or 3 of Randall's just over basketball.
SEC tournament champs, though. SEC tournament champs.
That's the question. Like,
That's all I care.
I know you did. You cared about it.
I'm glad you're happy. I'm glad you're happy.
This was a talented team that had a chance to win it all. So
people legitimately picking them, like a lot of people.
yeah, I mean, because it's the eye test, Raj. I mean, look at they played well. I mean, when they were at the top of their game, they could beat anybody in the country, and there's no doubt in my mind about that.
You look at the first
but
half. You're down to 10-2.
Absolutely.
You storm back. You're up by 5 at halftime, and you just go cold, and that's just the nature
exactly.
Of this thing. Like it is.
Yeah, if shots are not falling and your offense, like you said, the Barnes offense, when you're getting open looks, 15-foot jumpers or 3-pointers, because you guys don't do a whole lot of post game. It's more outside perimeter.
Yeah. We don't have any post players.
I know.
We will next
what I'm saying is if you don't make those shots, it's devastating.
There were, I think, 3 out of 4 possessions. It was the same shot wide open in the corner, and it's like, you've got to hit that. Like, I know you're not the pros, but man, you're close, and those are wide open shots. And they got
and you look at Michigan and Dickerson. I mean, he was down low a lot, and they scored a lot of points in the paint with him, and that was something you guys could not do. And
no, for Randall's sanity, I'm going to.
Chandler's got such a first step though.
Oh yeah,
Chandler, man, when he took it in his hands, he really tried. He played his butt off.
Too much Vescovi.
Hey,
more Chandler.
Hold on, one more thing. Is not being a Michigan fan, but what Juwan Howard did in that moment he had with Chandler at the end of the game, that was special.
Oh yeah,
that was player to player, and I respect that. I mean. That was pretty incredible.
It shows a lot about the college experience. In G League, you don't get that. Like his heart was broken.
Yeah, quick backstory. I promise I'll be quick, Randall. Quick backstory on that. So Jet Howard, who his mom went to recruiting visits to Tennessee. Juwan Howard was worried Jet was going to go to Tennessee. Kennedy Chandler and Jet have played on the AAU teams. They were 4th grade together. So Juwan Howard, it would be like Brandon, you and my parents, or vice versa. Like they know each other, and it was just such a great embrace of family and friendship.
Right.
It was awesome.
It was awesome. That's
was
what sports
a
is
class
about.
moment.
Like
by
Juwan
Howard.
Suck it, G League.
Let's move on to the brackets.
He totally redeemed himself after the slap face.
And totally redeemed it.
I can't take no more. Excellent. I swear. I'm not trying to be a bad sport.
1994.
But
this is good conversation, though. It's all good.
Let's go, Randall. Week for me.
Run it.
Got to be objective.
You need a mute button. Yeah,
Over in the East. No, I've talked about it. I've talked about it for 5 days.
Not with us.
In the East,
I've been looking forward to this.
North Carolina, UCLA 2.5. Go around. We'll start with Brandon first, then Robbie, then Raj, and then next time we'll start with Robbie. UCLA, North Carolina, UCLA 2.5. Brandon.
Giving 2.5.
Yes.
Getting. Oh, giving.
UCLA minus 2.5.
Yeah, sorry. They're getting 2.5.
I said minus.
Or giving 2.5. Yeah,
this is more confusing than bull or bear market.
I know.
Okay.
Minus means given.
I know. Minus. I got it. I've got UCLA here for sure. North Carolina is kind of a hot team, but UCLA's stout, man, and I like the way they've played so far in the tournament, and that's what it's all about. Your regular season doesn't matter. It's who's the hot hand, and UCLA is in my Elite 8.
Good pick. Robbie Davis.
If I'm UCLA, I'm pressing UNC the entire game. Good God. They can't. That was the most uncomfortable I felt watching a game in a long time. I'm like, how is this so hard? How can you not figure this out? I like UCLA too. I like UCLA getting to the Final Four before the bracket shifted this way. Still like them. I think they're the best team in this region.
Raj Mehta.
Same. North Carolina's got issues, and UCLA's got Tiger Campbell, who is the prototypical senior point guard. Jalen Clark. They're just Peyton Watson, who barely played, and he's going to be a lottery pick. They're going to abuse them when it comes to guards. Now, the only issue with UCLA is Jaime Jaquez Jr., who folded his ankle, much like Kerr Kriisa for Arizona. Kriisa just played, but he wasn't effective. But Jaquez, I saw him walking to the team bus, and he looked fine. When I played my huge high school basketball career, if you folded your ankle like that, you were done. And I couldn't believe how these guys came back. But if Jaquez doesn't play, I think it's going to be a lot closer. But if he does play and he's effective, just a very rock you to sleep, big dude, uses his body, very smart. I think UCLA wins by possibly like 6-10.
I would say 6. Yeah, I like that number.
I like UCLA to cover quite.
I hate that.
I think UCLA is the better team. Robbie Davis, next game. Minus. So that means the team's favored.
I understand, Randall. You have to
minus
call me
12.
out on that.
I don't know.
Purdue versus St. Peter's. Cinderella, the 15th seed.
The St. Peter's coach is going for interviews all this week. Purdue's going to roll them. They're just better. Purdue's one of the best teams in the country anyways. And this matchup, I had Purdue, UCLA. Actually, I think I may have Kentucky. But Purdue, they've got talent. They've got one of the biggest mismatches in Edie, I think it is. Edie.
Edie.
And then they always have white 7-footers that they just roll out there over and over and over again. I think there must be a factory in this engineering department they have.
He's half Asian.
Yeah, okay. Well,
you're right.
Give him a little flavor. But yeah.
Is he waiting on the Chappelle race draft to get some clarification?
Yeah, Purdue's just too talented. They're too well coached, and yeah, if you're the St. Peter's coach, you saw what Chattanooga got, Murray State, San Francisco. All these coaches are getting big time jobs. There's going to be a level of distraction. St. Peter's, they've had their moment in the sun. Purdue rolls.
Raj Meta.
Yeah, I mean, it's been nice, but this is a really tough matchup. This is the biggest team in America, in my opinion. I know top to bottom they're not, but when you got Edie, Ivy, who's ridiculous, one of the best freshman point guards we've seen in a long time, in my opinion. Then you got Travion Williams, who's a dude that was like a borderline All-American in years past, and he's been basically their sixth man. On top of that, St. Peter's, I think their biggest dude's like 6'7" that plays, and he's the guy that got hurt last game. I don't know his injury status, but it doesn't matter.
Brandon Chain, Purdue minus 12.5.
I don't know if they cover necessarily. I think the fairy tale's over for St. Peter's. It's been a great run. You beat Kentucky, Murray State. You know, that's a pretty good run coming out of the 15 seed. I don't think they're going to beat this Purdue team. I think they're well prepared. To both guys' points, you know, Edie is kind of unstoppable down low. They don't have anyone that can match up. I mean, they could sit there and post up all day and just slowly bleed them out. And I think that's what's going to happen. They might get a little fight. 12.5 is a big number, especially in the tournament. I could see it going that way, but I'd like to think St. Peter's still has some fight in them. You know, I would put money on St. Peter's covering the 12.5 and Purdue winning by 10.
Purdue's in Indiana though, and St. Peter's owns only the state of Kentucky, which they do own now.
I'm going to go with you, Brandon. I think Purdue wins a fairly easy game, but the one thing you don't give a mid-major is hope. And right now, you can't convince St. Peter's that they're not the giant killer. So I'm going to take those 12.5 points and go with St. Peter's. Raj Meta, to me, one of the most interesting brackets it held suit, was the West bracket. It starts with Gonzaga 9.5 over Arkansas. Big number for an SEC team.
Not only that, an SEC team that led the conference in defense. Sure, the SEC hasn't played particularly well. It's kind of funny. We were all dogging on the ACC, and they're like 6-7-1 with only Virginia Tech losing. But that is a big number. And one thing Gonzaga doesn't have is muscle. And there's some tough dudes in Arkansas. They've got some wide bodies. That's a big number. And I think everybody knows there are chinks in that armor. Gonzaga to win, but I think Arkansas shows up and they cover.
Brendan James.
Yeah. Took the words right out of my mouth. That's exactly how I see the game playing out. Arkansas is going to play a tough game and cover, but Zags are going to win it.
Robbie Davis.
Yeah, I'm not as confident as the rest that the Zags are going to win this. Look, Eric Musselman is great at teaching his players to draw fouls and get people in foul trouble. Williams is one of the best of it down low. If you leave your feet against Arkansas, they are sliding in you and they're trying to draw the charge. So the ref draw on this one, we've seen in this tournament and this season, college basketball refereeing is atrocious. And so if you get a crew that wants to draw charges or call charges, Arkansas is going to win this game because Arkansas will slide underneath you at every chance you get. I think Gonzaga is more talented, obviously, but it's going to be close. I would absolutely take the points in this game and sleep like a baby the night before. This is going to be a drag-out game.
Weren't they supposed to kill New Mexico State and Vermont? It doesn't matter. That's in the past. But I agree that they're looking at that number like, come on, dude, show us some respect.
I think Arkansas is a better Memphis, and Memphis showed us the path. I'm going to take all those points, and I'm not sure this is not my upset special. We'll see in a little bit. But that to me, that's a lot of points. The only thing that scares me is everybody talks about Chet the Jet Holmgren. The best player on Gonzaga is named Drew Timme. And if he has one of those nights like he did against Memphis where he scores 32.
I'm telling you, Arkansas will get them in foul trouble. They have every game of the year.
I don't agree with the Timme assessment, but I respect it.
Well, Chet Holmgren might be a better pro player, but you give me right now a college player, I'll take Drew Timme over Chet Holmgren all day. At this point in their career, in this tournament.
Said the same thing about Corey Kispert last year at Gonzaga, who was more of the number one option than Timme. But I hear you, dude. He's a college darling. He's kind of Leitner-esque. He is a definite leader. There's no doubt about it.
Stat line, 32 and 30. I mean, he's went for 32 games in a row. Without Drew Timme, Memphis beats Gonzaga.
I agree with that.
Yeah.
Without Nembhard, they lose.
That's the reason we're here. It's the reason it's called reckless speculation. I think
coulda, shoulda, woulda.
Game, the 3 seed is a 1-point favorite. Brandon James, the 3 seed Texas Tech is a 1-point favorite over Duke. It's a coin flip. I like Texas Tech, but what's your take?
Texas Tech all day. To be honest, I didn't have Duke even making it this far, and I love Texas Tech. I love their style of play. I've said this time and time again. They're very similar to the Vols. Great defense. When they shoot the ball well, they win games. Let's just hope they don't have the same shooting problems as Tennessee did during this game. But I do like Tech here.
Robbie Davis.
I cannot believe this is only a -1 for Texas Tech. If this isn't Duke on the other side, this is a -4, -5 spread. Texas Tech is UVA like on defense. It's the most impressive defense I've seen all year long, and Duke wants to get out and run. They want to get their 5 stars out going. That's not going to happen. They will slow the game down. This is going to be a frustrating offensive game for Duke. Yeah, Coach K, this is where your run ends. And I'm pretty sure I heard it was -3 this morning when I was driving into work. If it's dropped that much, yeah, like big money coming to Duke. Yeah, I really like Texas Tech here.
I'm on Score Mobile and it's been at 1 all day.
You know, I'm not challenging I don't know what the spread is, but I was saying what I heard at this morning, and it very well may have changed.
I also like the under because it's at 137. Roger.
Whoa. Well, I agree. That's a big over under. I agree. You know, Duke is obviously the names and star power, et cetera. There's a bunch of freshmen and a definite lack of leadership. You know, Banchero's a monster, but Texas Tech has 5 of them. And they start, I believe, 2 seniors and 3 juniors. Didn't miss a beat with a new coach. Veteran leadership. They're not going to fold. Duke is going to get smacked in the mouth. Yeah, I can't believe it's only 1 as well. I will take Texas Tech in a low-scoring game. It is 1. I see it, but it's like, whoa.
I just checked too. Yeah, 137 is the over/under, and -1 Texas Tech. So,
wow,
that's insane.
Now Duke's going to win because we all agree.
Yes.
Yeah, that never happens. We normally don't all agree.
Because I owe the Houston Cougars an apology. I said the Houston Cougars were the most overseeded team in the tournament. I said, how can Houston be good when their only 3 big games of the year was against SMU and Memphis, and they lost all 3? Thank you, Houston Cougars, for making me look like a complete idiot. So, Arizona, Houston Cougars, Arizona 1.5. I'm going to go to the well one more time. Arizona to cover the 1.5. I just apologize, and I still think Arizona is a better team by far than Houston. Brendan?
All day. So out of this South region, it was between Tennessee and Arizona for me the entire time when I was filling out my bracket. Arizona's just – they're big, fast. You know, Houston, again, you had a good run, but – you're running into a buzzsaw with this Arizona team. 1.5. I would take Arizona all day and sleep easy at night with these points.
Robbie Davis.
You're going to sleep easy the night before, but have nightmares the day after. No, give me Houston. Kelvin Sampson has been here before. Arizona coach has not. This is his first tournament. I'm sorry. I can't just get over. I know playing at home is different. It's a different beast, but they just weren't impressive when I saw them in Knoxville. I know they won a lot of games, but Houston looks better to me. And the way they rebound, offensive rebound is huge. And they went to the Final Four last year. It's the same philosophy. They, for whatever reason, know how to offensive rebound better than any team I've seen in the last 2 seasons combined. Give me Houston, and I'll take Chain's money.
It's a flawed argument because you got beat by a team that shouldn't even have been in the tournament.
No, so I understand. I
don't even want to hear it right now. Arizona all the way. Arizona.
I know transitive property is not a good argument.
I agree. Sadly, I'm a Pac-12 guy. I picked both these teams to be here. I don't believe in conference loyalty because if Arizona wins, it just hurts my team. But I think Houston is going to win this game. If one thing about Arizona, now if they play like they did against TCU, they're done. Every championship team has a close game, but Arizona was so soft. And, that game was in San Diego, and U of A fans, there's a ton of them in Southern California because they couldn't get into any other good schools. Oops. But they were showboating, like getting a lot of calls, throwing up dunks, riling up the crowd, and they were up 2 at the time. It was like a tie game, and they were doing that crap. And I'm like, dude, what is wrong with these guys? They better show me something because Houston is without their best player in Marcus Sasser. Defensively, it didn't matter with Kyler Edwards, Jamal Sheed. They play together, and that's all Kelvin Sampson. Tommy Lloyd as well after that game was, these are great kids. Like, they won the championship and cutting down the nets. Like, congratulations. You're the 1 seed, and you got to the round of past 32, They severely disappointed me. I've seen the best of Arizona, but it made me question the pack quite a bit. And if these are 2 contrasting styles. If the refs give them a lot of love and they're out running and stuff, then Arizona. But Houston can easily win this game, and this is 1.5 for a reason.
I think Arizona plays to their competition a lot. They do get lackadaisical.
That's very true.
And I think when the heat's on, they've got the talent. They can step up, and know what's going on. So I don't see Arizona losing this game at all.
That's why they lost to crappy Tennessee. You're right. Just kidding. Sorry.
Nobody could win in Thompson Bowling Arena this year.
That's
guess what that matters in the end. Congratulations. Nothing.
0.
We won the SEC
Went on the road,
tournament,
bro.
and I'm happy. Michigan, Villanova, Robbie
You were distraught
Davis.
earlier.
Michigan. No technical analysis needed. I don't remember the last team that Tennessee lost to in the tournament that didn't at least make the Elite Eight. And so, trivia question.
Such flawed logic there.
I said there's no technical analysis needed. Because the reason why, because I have a theory that sports gods hate Tennessee fans.
You are a Vols fan. That's your sports theory.
And so every single time Tennessee loses in the tournament, the path that they lost to always opens up to a Final Four. So Michigan's going to win. And I don't even care what the spread is. I'll take that money line. That's my I'll save it for the end.
I'll take your money and the line. And I'll take Villanova all day.
Yeah, dude, I agree with Brandon. They're so well coached. They play together so well. More veteran leadership. Gillespie, I'm talking about a guy that is just the prototypical college guard. They're big. They're mean. They have a big dude in Jermaine Samuels who can definitely handle Hunter Dickinson. I know he's only 6'7", but 230. And then they have what's that other dude? Eric Dixon. That guy's a monster too. Villanova has like 6 or 7 guys that contribute and average like 8 or more points. I'm taking Villanova, and I think Dickinson's going to get bodied up, and it's just such a well coached team. Definitely better coach than Michigan.
6. That's exactly how many players Villanova has. 6. 2 guys over 6'6".
They're like 260.
I like Michigan. I like Michigan for the same reason they beat Tennessee. Athletic bigs.
For instance,
he can't do that every game.
For instance, Oregon State went to the Final Four last year.
No, Elite
8.
Oh, Elite 8. I'm sorry. So yeah, Oregon State. Even if you beat Tennessee, you're going to the Elite 8. That's how it works.
No. That was a run by my boy. He's never
Loyola
seen.
Chicago.
That was like 38 years in the making that they've.
I cannot wait till we get a live research department so I can back up my assertions on here.
Robbie uses the same logic in fantasy football, and that works out so well.
So 2 of us got Michigan, 2 of us got Villanova. It'll be an interesting game.
Hey, let's
over
just
to the
throw
Midwest.
A little friendly bet on it.
that I'm kind of shocked by the line.
Let's do a push-up bet.
Kansas, 7.5 over Providence, Raj Mehta.
It's a lot of points, man, for another tough team. You notice all these like tough physical teams are in the Sweet 16. It's another case of, Kansas is very similar to Arizona, a team that wants to get out and run. A bit soft though, in my opinion. I'm going to take Providence. They're not going to lose by 7.5, but I think Kansas wins the game on the strength of Obaji.
I'll take Providence plus the points. Brendan Chain.
I'll take Providence plus the points. Kansas wins the game. These spreads in March Madness are asinine to me. Like, I don't understand. Have you not ever watched March Madness? Have you not ever seen how close these games are? It doesn't matter. Like, when you get in these big games, especially Sweet 16, when you start getting closer to the big game, these spreads are too much. So I will take the points on them all day. Kansas wins the game, but not by a lot, maybe 2-3 points, in my opinion.
Robbie Davis.
So in 2019, the Vols lost to Purdue. Purdue went.
Oh God, here we go.
And I'm looking at 2018. Let's see what we got.
Go back to 2002 when
2018 is when we lost to Loyola Chicago. They went to the Final Four. I'm telling you, it's a curse. Michigan's going to go to the Elite Eight. Sorry, what was the question? Villanova.
I'll bet
we're on to a different game, Robbie.
I'll bet you $100 right now.
Okay, I'll take Michigan.
All right, on record right now.
Okay.
Straight up, he said.
Kansas, Providence, Robbie.
Oh, Kansas rolls. And they're lucky they didn't. They're lucky Providence didn't beat Tennessee, or else Providence would win.
Oh, God. This logic you have. How are you a lawyer? Is this what you bring to your clients? Is this what you bring to your clients? Well, last year, the statistic was if I lost.
Your Honor, my client is over 5 foot 9 inches, and in my traditional experience, anybody over 5 foot 9 inches has won their case. So, the defense rests.
That's it. That's all you need. That's all you need.
All right, the last game. And plus, I'm going to come around and get a Final Four from everybody. The last game, Cinderella versus Cinderella. The 11 seed Iowa State against the favorite Miami Hurricane, 2.5 points. Start with Brendan Chain.
Miami all day. I love this team from the start. I loved him. I told Raj I was worried about his USC team. Miami has rolled. They beat Auburn. I mean, they're on fire right now. No chance they lose this game.
Robbie Davis.
I agree with I think Miami is hot. I think they're the team that is coming here. Like I said, the guy coach has done it before. And I would say that's a great story because they went 2-22 last year. That's a great turnaround, and they're building momentum. But this year, Miami's got more talent, better prepared for the moment.
Raj Mehta.
This is a super intriguing matchup, and I'm not going to talk about what I want to talk about, but this is two teams that run 4 guards in their starting lineup and 1 forward. They both like to run. Iowa State was 2-22. They got Isaiah Brockington, who's their leading scorer, to transfer from Penn State. Tyrese Hunter, the freshman, has been sensational. I thought Miami was going to roll them initially, but I hate to say this, but Miami gets a lot of I don't want to – I'm going to go with Miami because they do create more steals and turnovers than anyone else in the game. And, USC was tied with them. I said I wasn't going to go there, but I don't like the ref's call. But the turnovers were 18-3 in favor of Miami. Iowa State is a team that will turn the ball over. I will take Miami. It's a small guard league, and they have the smallest guard ever in Charlie Moore, who's transferred 28 times. But, they have 2 6'7" dudes that are just, in McGusty, Isaiah Wong, Miller. They just have more talent. I can't remember who said that, but it's absolutely correct. I don't know about the spread. I think the public's going to bet Miami up. But regardless, I'll take Miami to win.
In 2014, Tennessee lost to Michigan, and Michigan
Just stop already.
Please stop.
I was going to say, well, and here's the thing about Miami that I love too is they're not afraid to take the 2 ball as opposed to the 3. So
yeah, they have good mid range for sure.
Yeah, they've got really good mid range.
8 years back, and
we're not going to talk about how many times Tennessee lost and teams that prevailed. So
every team says that. We call it the USC basketball curse, by the way. Every team is cursed.
Give me the Canes laying the points. All right, one last around the horn. Then we're going to close basketball off for the night. Give me your final 4, starting with Brandon Chain.
Final 4. Out of the West, I got Texas Tech. Out of the East, I have Purdue. Midwest, I've got Miami. In the South, I've got Arizona.
Robbie Davis, start with Michigan, I guess.
I've been down the rabbit hole. Okay, so I've got, obviously we don't lose to every team that makes the Final Four. So
there's no need to elaborate on it.
You bring up Tennessee one more time.
I've got
I'm leaving.
Houston, Texas Tech now, and I've got UCLA and Kansas.
Nice. Raj Meta.
Miami does scare me.
Go with the favorites.
Only because – yeah, exactly. Rob taking it.
Hey, I took Texas Tech. Bulls.
Their favorite – well, against
UCLA.
I agree. I think we all like Texas Tech.
So vanilla.
We all like Texas Tech. I'll take Purdue. They match up very well with UCLA, and UCLA doesn't have they have Cody Riley and Miles Johnson, but I think Purdue is a better team. I'm going to take Villanova. I just think they're the best coach team, although Dickinson's clearly the best player in that most difficult matchup in that region. But I'll take Nova. Again, Miami, they just seem like that team gut reaction that every year there's a 10 seed, and just like every time Tennessee loses, a team wins a championship or whatever. I'm going to take Kansas because I think they can match up with Miami. So I'm going Kansas, Villanova, Texas Tech, and Purdue.
Raj must have another bracket filled out where he doesn't have Arizona winning, and that's where he picked Villanova over there.
Oh.
No, man, I switched. They showed me nothing against TCU, and they were soft.
Give me Purdue, Gonzaga, Arizona, and Miami.
All right. Answer to my trivia question is 2011 was the last time that the team that Tennessee lost to didn't make it to at least the Elite Eight. And that was Pearls last year, and they got blown out by who else? Michigan, 75-45.
I thought it was trivia. I knew that.
I remember that game. I was watching it at Coaster in Mission Beach. It started at like 9:40 a.m. Nice. And I was wasted before lunch, and they gave me free breakfast.
Shocker. Where's Coaster at? I think it was a
is
name change from where I went
every bad memory that I've ever had about college basketball in the last segment and a half. So let's move on to equally painful college football.
What about Houston?
All right, I'm going to listen. I've got to make a drink. I'm listening.
Sorry.
I don't particularly want to talk about anybody in general. I don't want to talk about player in general. We can if we get there. But I want to talk about the class of 2023 has become the NIL class. I think 22's commitments came so fast that the establishment of the NIL really wasn't out there. Stuart Mandel recently reported 4 days before a high-profile quarterback commit to Tennessee, local team, that he had read the letter of understanding, the mutual understanding of a contract that would pay a college quarterback. Now, here's where a couple of facts have been misreported. It said that this contract would pay up to $8 million. So it obviously was very staying enrolled, staying active. And I would almost bet there's some playing incentives in it. This same player, a couple of days before his commitment, posed with a G-Wagon, the head coach of the University of Tennessee, and 2 lead recruiters inside of Neyland Stadium in a G-Wagon in front of the championship banners. The whole nation has went in an uproar now that Tennessee paid $8 million for a quarterback. I don't think this is noise, guys. Rumor is Jimbo Fisher was so offended that Texas A&M's recruiting class, according to the same sources, made $26 million in NILs to sign with Texas A&M. Are we in an era of a bidding war in college football? Is NILs, if you put that quarterback in your class, like USC has with Nelson, like Tennessee has with Iamaleava, it automatically sets up your recruiting class for the rest of the year. If you're not playing in NILs, are you going backwards? I've really became intrigued at this point about the ramification of NILs on college football. Rod, we'll start with you, work our way around. There've been a lot of stories, a lot of hype this week. I think some of them's over-exaggerated. But no doubt, these top 4 quarterbacks, all 5 stars, are getting paid to go to school somewhere.
Yeah, I mean, I didn't even hear about the $8 million because nothing's news to me anymore. USC basketball went to the tournament, and Caleb Williams, their quarterback, bought them all new kicks and new headphones and stuff. Hasn't played it down for USC. This is the future. And I also think there's a significant reason why Arch Manning, who I think is overrated in my opinion for what I've seen, but I don't know anything, hasn't signed or anyway. I mean, that guy's going to get good Lord, he's going to get 15 mil.
But the school that signs Arch Manning may sell 50 million in jerseys.
Yeah, absolutely. But still, it's better than nothing, which is what they used to get. Yeah. No, I agree. It's a dangerous precedent, a slippery slope. I believe there'll be some more regulation eventually. There's always what about that guy later in life and careers and whatnot. But I absolutely agree that it's going to be dangerous. But $8 million, Arch Manning's going to get 15, so I don't think it's that big of a deal. Jimbo Nelson's a whiner. I'm happy for Tennessee. If they didn't get Hendon Hooker, you got a team that has struck out on starting quarterbacks for more or less for quite a while, and he can do really well in this offense, and I hope the best for him. Long Beach Polynesian kid, loved Tennessee, said it was like family, and I really hope it'll be a great fit.
But, Rog, without the $8 million, does he take Tennessee as a recruiting visit?
No. But it was a bidding war, like you said, and, his mom was a big deal and a huge family in Southern California. But, maybe he took a visit because why not? But Tennessee won him over. I don't believe he was strongly considering them, and he loved the family nature of everything. Comes from a big family. He loved everything they offered. He loved the offense. he's going to start day one, unless somebody crazy transfers to Tennessee.
Well, they did just sign a 4-star top 10 quarterback in Taven Jackson, who, if I'm him, who got nothing to come to Tennessee, I'm like the jilted girl right now.
No, I mean, it's all conjecture, reckless speculation, if you will, at this point. But nothing surprises me in college football anymore. It's you got NIL departments and staffs and hype machines and all that. You know, USC got most of OU's staff, and there's all these things that like we never knew was possible. Never
Robbie,
saw any of this stuff. It's crazy. Quit cutting
Robbie,
me.
thanks, Raj. I think you're on the point. Robbie, if a freshman is signing for that kind of money, how much is somebody like Bryce Young getting to stay at Alabama?
Well, so he's there already, and so does his value go down a little bit because he's got one more year than he's gone to the NFL. So this is, and not to get too, or to try not to get too nerdy and legal about this, but there's so many levels about this. So, and think about it in our own lives about sports gambling, right? So initially it was federally illegal except for the states that were grandfathered in, Nevada and being New Jersey, or no, just Nevada. Then New Jersey sued the federal government, and then they said, no, that's restraint of trade. Now it's open for the states to decide. That's essentially what happened with the NCAA. They said it's a restraint on trade. Now, even if you say they'll try to rein it in, but they can't because conferences, let's take the SEC, for example, they're all state institutions. They're all founding members of the conference that pay the commissioner. So the commissioner can't make rules that violate state laws. And so now you're looking at, so for instance, why Georgia was the first one to pass paying athletes, and Tennessee and Alabama, and like they're all competing to get to these to where it's all the wild, wild west. And so I don't think there's any putting the toothpaste back in that bottle or the tube, if you will, whatever the analogy is. But it's so much legalese and there's so much trouble with it. And so what you're going to see is, you're going to see a little minor league system. And it's going to be, hey, if you're the Haslams, for example, or if you're Phil Knight, hey, what's it worth? Is it worth paying $20 million to get the top recruiting class? Yes, probably it is. And who can match it? And you're back and forth. And then the big guys at USC, the big guys at Texas, A&M, a $30 million slush fund. But it's all legit now. And so, Tennessee, hey, we have an $8 million fund or whatever it is, $20 million. We're paying $8 million for a quarterback. Well, it's a salary cap. That's what the NFL does. They have a $300 million salary cap. You give Patrick Mahomes $50 million a year because that's the most important position in football. It's just mimicking the NFL, but it's just from private donors and NIL now. It's just a different way of skinning a cat.
He nailed it.
Yeah, Brendan, last year we were all kind of appalled that Ohio State played Ohio State was connected to an NIL for $1 million, and the kid left after a year. Boy, this money went up fast, and don't you think that the contracts became a little more dependent on staying at the university than the original ones that saw kids transfer after a year?
Yeah. So this is new to everyone, this whole NIL deal. People that are paying players, trying to figure out, because it's such a gray area with the rules of what it is and what you can and can't do. And it's pretty much a free-for-all. This is a minor league team for the NFL. It really is. And now players are getting paid, and that brings so many more teams into the mix. But yes, to your point, that was the first one. Ewers, who opted out of his senior year, came to Ohio State just so he could sign that NIL deal, and then immediately transferred back to Texas where he could play. So I don't think that's going to happen anymore. They're going to figure it out as they go, but right now it's a free for all because they have no idea. No one knows what's going to happen. Now there's $8 million. Next year there'll be $15 million. Who knows? This is a complete farm league. There's no rules. It's a free for all. There's no salary cap. I mean, you can pay, you can do whatever you want. But I think the donors and the people that are actually making these NIL deals are starting to get smart and structure it somewhat like NFL contracts as to how many years you stay, signing bonuses on roster bonuses, things like that. Like if you stay here for 2 years, 3 years, 4 years, you get more and more and more.
But that's going to flip too. Like it's going to be, hey, here's $1 million your first year. Oh, if you're at Tennessee, hey, Oklahoma, I'll give you a $4 million signing bonus to come my sophomore year.
Exactly. It depends on who your agent is and what you can structure.
And we have
immediate eligibility.
And we haven't even touched on income tax, like state income tax, like Florida, Texas, Tennessee. Like if you're in
as opposed to California
you got to get paid $15 million versus what you're making $8 million in Tennessee or Texas or Florida. Like
I know it's a free for all, and they're trying to figure it out right now. And right now, the kids that are in this system for the next 3 to 4 years, I would say, are going to make a killing because there's no structure to what is going on right now.
I heard this, Raj, compared to the one in the era of the NBA basketball before the one and done. All the kids before the contracts that could come straight out of high school to the mega deals. I think of Sean played at the Supersonics.
Sean
Kemp, those guys. They made a blue $1 billion going from high school to the NBA, which was gone in a few years later with the salary cap and the rookie contracts. Is it a short window that they have to make this money?
I hope so. I think the eligibility, the pandemic under, the rationalizations for the pandemic, immediate eligibility, immediate transfers were based upon family and et cetera, et cetera. With it apparently, I don't know about under control because you never control a pandemic, but less of a threat, let's say. There's a reason why college football and basketball had a year sit out, eligibility wise. And, like Shane said that, Ewers went from one place and jumped to another. And what's going to stop, Florida from coming in and giving him, $30 million the year after. So I look forward to the day where the eligibility rules get reinstated because I do think that will be somewhat of a natural check. But yeah, I mean, at this point, it's just a horribly slippery slope. And, even though I think USC benefits as much or more than anyone with LA and Hollywood and hanging out with Will Ferrell and Dr. Dre and, whatever, it's not right. And like I said, I think restore the eligibility rules, which were there for a reason.
Well, can I touch quickly on a point that no one's made?
Go ahead, Robbie. The next question's coming to you anyway.
Great. So
I got something to say after Robbie real quick.
So if I'm the USFL, this is my golden ticket right now. The NFL Players Association and the owners have collectively bargained the rookie wage scale for the next decade. If you're the USFL, you can say because what you're going to end up getting inevitably is star players making more in college than they're going to make on their rookie deal in the NFL. If you're the USFL, say we will match your college contract coming out if you come play for us instead of the NFL. That's a game changer because money rules everything. If you go from take Nico, I still haven't got his last name down yet, so I'm not going to try it.
Hey, I practiced for 2 days. Let me say it.
Yeah.
Iamaleava.
Okay. If you take him, he's making $8 million or $7 million, whatever it is last year. You go to the NFL, you're making $4 million, and the USFL guarantees you $7 million again. That's down incentive. That's what happened the first time around when they started piercing the NFL's. That this could be the weakness, if there is any. I doubt there is, but this could be one little, maybe a little hole to poke in the NFL's dominance.
They need to find some more money, but you're absolutely
That's
right.
what I was going to say. Like how, they've got to come up with funding for that and, viewership and TV contracts. So that's a tough stretch, but I see where you're going with that. Like if they can get the volume and the TV contracts to support that, then absolutely 100% that can match that. Here's the other thing. Like, when is there going to be a salary cap on NLIs? Because there's going to have to be eventually, because you've got these big donors in big areas that can pay more money than other people, and that's an unfair game.
The NCAA they fell asleep at the wheel and let this just become a runaway train.
And it's going to be for maybe
Shocker.
another year or two, and I think there's going to be some changes happening because they're going to see what's going on with the big donors. I mean, you just cannot sustain.
But who institutes that change? That's my question.
I mean, I have not. The NCAA, what power do they really have right now?
None.
Donald Trump.
Exactly.
Donald Trump.
At some level,
No.
a self-proposed governing body of the universities themselves.
But
who?
Eventually
By the
have
broke
to put-
universities.
Yeah.
I don't care if you create a new committee on NLI contracts or whatever within the Power Five, if that's what has to happen. But it's going to have to happen because
doesn't the USFL they don't have an age restriction, so
But
they
the
just let that.
the USFL doesn't have as much money as the donors in college football.
But
And
if
that's the
you
problem.
what you're saying is the NCAA lowers the amount you get paid. USFL doesn't have an age restriction. You go get paid over there, then you go to the NFL.
I get your logic, but where's the money come from? They're just going to print it.
I guess
like
it
the
comes
USFL
from ESPN. It doesn't all come from ESPN.
So
the USFL
Could get outside investors,
I know.
Yeah.
He's
right.
Hell,
USFL.
all it takes is Amazon, Google, or Apple, or Facebook to say, "Yeah, we'll
I
spend
get it.
$500,000,
Hey,
$500
but
million, not black."
No problem.
It's not there yet.
The
That's
four
what I'm
most
saying.
successful
It's not
companies
there.
in the world. No problem.
none of that $8 million.
You can't just be like the U.S. government and just start printing money. Like I can make monopoly money all day and pay you in monopoly money, and it'll be fine.
I thought that's what you do all day is print money, Chain.
So
I'm putting
I
a
hate to
house
interrupt,
on
but I gotta
Marvin
make a point.
Gardens.
We got to move on. I had a very wise gentleman that's been involved in college football multiple years call me after this happened. And this gentleman's in his 70s and 80s, and he's a Florida graduate. And we had a long conversation. And he goes, Randall, it's just what it's always been. It's they made it legal. He said people lie to themselves not to think this has been a bidding war for the last 40 years.
I said that a year
Just
ago on this
legal
show.
now.
Oh, always been the case. Absolutely right.
Yeah.
And I do believe he's
100%.
correct. I believe he has probably been involved in some of them.
No, they've always been paid, but they've been paid in cash and paid under the table. This is direct. This is direct deposit to your bank account.
That's what Randall's saying. He's saying it's a way around that.
Albert Means in 1990 got $100,000 in cash from the University of Alabama.
Dickerson got a gold Trans Am, dude, to go to SMU.
You gotta spend that money.
What did Cam Newton get? Remember that?
Like
$200,000.
Bidding war for sure. Bidding
war.
That's
cash. That's not as easy to invest.
Straight cash, homie. Straight cash, homie. Agreed.
All right, guys. We just got about 20 more minutes, and I do want to touch on the NFL. And what a crazy week in the NFL. I don't think in my 45 years of fandom, and I'm not just 45, I made it seem like I was younger than I was.
You started watching when you were 30.
By the way, please subscribe to River City Media Sports at YouTube.
Hey,
River City Media Sports at YouTube. I don't think
he started
I've
watching when he was 30, dude.
With player movement than this week. We had more big names move in the last 2 weeks than would move over a decade in the NFL. I want to start and go around the table, and I want to start with 2 big names that ended up staying. And let's start there with Tom Brady unretires, comes back to Tampa, and what I believed was factually impossible, Aaron Rodgers stays in Green Bay. And that kind of starts the mega deals and the mega dollars falling in place with Aaron Rodgers' first deal. Rog, even though it wasn't movement, this kind of is movement because nobody expected those 2 guys to be back where they're at.
Hey, Rodgers, he wanted his money like a great team player. Brady would restructure for many years. He lost arguably the best receiver.
All means.
Arguably the best receiver in the league, and the new Las Vegas Raider, Devontae Adams, originally grew up a Raider fan. They also lost
college quarterback.
Hell yeah, him and Derek Carr go way back, and but they also, like I said, lost Ladarius Smith. I'm trying to think of others. The team got worse. I mean, there's no questioning that. And but again, Aaron Rodgers got his money. They did re-sign Devondre Campbell, Rasul Douglas, and Robert Tonyan.
They got
a great year last
year.
They
got Chandler or Crosby or whatever for defense, right?
The Raiders got Chandler Jones.
Or Chandler Jones, yeah.
With
Max
Green Bay, though,
sorry.
Yes, you're right, absolutely right. Easy to confuse the two. They look like twins.
Was the Rodgers deal purely selfish, and did he destroy?
Depends on if the lights are on or off.
Did he hurt the Green Bay Packers?
Yeah, well, I mean, so this deal, hey, get your money if you only have a finite amount of time to get your money. But I feel like he has so much money, and you live in Green Bay half the time of year. But, yeah, what you just did, if you're Aaron Rodgers, you just said, I'm good with 1 Super Bowl, and I'll just kick it the rest of the time. Because even though the NFC is now depleted and it's a weak conference, I still like Brady over Rodgers. But, yeah, this was just a money grab for Rodgers. And which is fine. It's fine. But at least try to structure it some way that helps the team to keep Adams. Because why would you give away your biggest weapon? And it makes little sense to me besides just let me get as much money as I can.
Jay, Rodgers, if you've got comments. But let's talk about Brady. He immediately put them from I thought Tampa would struggle to make the playoffs to they're probably a Super Bowl contender by unretiring.
Yeah, 100%. I didn't think he was coming back. I thought he was done. I thought he was mad about the announcement that it broke too early or whatever from Scheffner, and then 2 days later or whatever it was legit. So, going out on top's hard, especially in that caliber of an athlete. I think it ate away at him. I believe his family pushed him towards retirement, and maybe he had enough conversations where he convinced them that he wasn't done. So it definitely immediately takes him to Super Bowl contenders. Gronkowski, I think, is still a free agent. If they can sign him back, I think is another huge piece.
That division's horrible.
Godwin's
he would
gone.
take less money to play football as a good teammate, unlike Aaron Rodgers. I don't think Gronk's going anywhere.
And if you look at Brady's career, he's done that his entire life to win football games and get players on his team. He's done that his entire life. It's not about his wife makes more money than he does. He doesn't care. He's plenty of money.
Structured quite a bit.
Yeah, so that's not a factor with him. Aaron Rodgers is more narcissistic. He's been there with the whole team a couple of years, and they haven't won a Super Bowl. I think he's like, we're probably not going to do it. Let me just get paid, do what I can, and ride out after that. So it's unfortunate, but
call it like it is.
I know you're probably going to get to this, but I do want to talk about just the rest of the quarterback situations and everyone.
We're going to touch on every one of them. So
yeah.
sit tight for just a minute.
I will. I'm eager. Sorry.
All right, Robbie, I want to start with you. Who did better, the Denver Broncos with Russell Wilson or the Cleveland Browns with Deshaun Watson?
Oh, the Broncos with Russell Wilson for a couple of reasons. Even though they're in a tough – well, one, it puts them in contention with their division. They've got a great defense. They've got a good offensive line. They've got the pieces. They just needed a quarterback. Now, it's a steep hill up. But, man, the AFC, the Titans proved they couldn't win at home. The Chiefs proved they couldn't win at home. You can, if you get hot, NFL home field is not what it used to be. And so I think you can win from any position in football now. So I think they won that debate. The Browns, man, this and the Haslam's fund our school tremendously. I hate to talk bad about them because they
bought Deshaun Watson and Nico Iamaleava this week for quarterbacks.
But they're listening.
But what they did with this sham contract, if I'm Roger Goodell, I am hammering them. I'm saying we will not suspend him like with this $1 million first year, then 40, 50, whatever it is. No, we're not going to suspend him until we deem it appropriate. And he can play now and see how the season goes. And at some point, he's going to get dinged, and it's going to be $50 to $60 million he's going to lose. You can't just flaunt this arrogance in front of Roger Goodell. If you deflate gate, Spygate, if you all for Bob Kraft, sorry, Jim Haslam, you're a god in Knoxville. You're not Bob Kraft in the NFL. You're gonna get hit hard for playing the stunt.
Brendan, what do you think of the fact that Deshaun Watson is guaranteed $90 million more than Patrick Mahomes?
I mean,
he's going to need it.
Yeah. Is it? What else can you say about the Browns and Haslam's and everything else? I don't know. The thing that I've taken away,
gas prices are good.
Gas prices is up. They got to pay Deshaun Watson.
Yeah. So what I've taken away from this entire offseason, in a nutshell, is that this is a byproduct of Sean McVay and that front office and the Rams of selling out and going for it. When you're missing a few key pieces, people are selling out and signing big contracts, trading away years of whatever, draft picks, to get the win now. It's a proven model. We just saw it. So I think a lot of people, this is not the old school. So it was so vanilla in the day. It took so many years to build up and consciously keep your draft picks and salary cap under. That's no longer going to happen. Like the Rams were a proven model, and they were like, hey, we need a like how it's so hard to win a ring. So sell out now and go for it. And I'll tell you who's in the best position is the Bengals right now, because they had the second highest salary cap to spend, and they just revamped their entire offensive line. They were already in the Super Bowl, and they're on a bunch of rookie contracts with a bunch of superstars, and these guys are dangerous, and I'm scared to death of them.
Let us get our $60 million a dead cap off our head in Atlanta, and then we'll be there too. It's crazy. Raj, the one thing, and I'll let Brandon, do you have anything to say about Russell Wilson in Denver?
Good trade for him. I think he was done in Seattle. Like Robbie said, they were missing a few key pieces. They shore up the defense a little. I think they're good.
Raj, you're a West Coast guy. Pete Carroll has been with Russell Wilson the last several years. You're ex-USC guy. That team in Denver has a young stud running back, young stud wide receivers, a good defense. Russell Wilson kind of landed from the outhouse to the penthouse, wouldn't you say?
Yeah, I mean, there's no question Seattle was basically under renovation. I can't even think of the word right now.
It was a crap
rebuilding. Good Lord. You know, I don't think Drew Lock is going to help too much, but Noah Fant, Shelby Harris, and you know they got a 2022 first, 2023 first, 2022 second, 2023 second, and a 2022 fifth. Which, by the way, arguably is less than what the Browns gave up for Deshaun Watson.
Very much.
You know, obviously a rebuild. I can't believe Carroll didn't leave or retire. He's got to be 70 by now. As for Denver, you know, I believe it was yourself that wisely drafted Javonte Williams in our fantasy football draft last year. That guy's a monster, dude. Well, he still had like 900 yards and 5 TDs or whatever. He's going to possibly, in my opinion, lead the NFL in rushing, especially with Russ back there. He's finally got a great back, in my opinion. It's been a while, other than Marshawn. You know, the receivers, we'll see, but the defense is strong. Obviously, I think they need to improve their linebackers. You know, Chubb and a couple of dudes, like Alex Singleton's an old Philly dude that, you know, barely played last year. But they do have probably the best secondary in football at this point with Surtain, Darby, Locke, and Justin Simmons. So they can fill some holes. But, yeah, the AFC West, unfortunately, is just going to be insane now. And Seattle's obviously rebuilding. And, yeah, they gave less for they received less than what arguably what Houston did for a guy that's facing 22 lawsuits, civil lawsuits, and will probably get suspended. I'm trying to think who the Browns' free agents are for next year, because if he doesn't get suspended 6 games, I'll be surprised. So you're basically tanking on this year with, you know, Cincinnati and Baltimore, and then to a lesser extent Pittsburgh in your division. So it's very Browns-esque, but I just can't believe they gave what they gave up for.
It was ridiculous
for Watson. I mean, I cannot believe.
Hey,
and they're going to be high draft picks too.
So I have a question for you guys, and so Chain brought it up, and I'm curious what you guys think. So for the last 10 years, it was more the Oakland A's Moneyball philosophy. You have to win with your rookie QB under contract, build people around him. Now it's shifting to pay the quarterback and then put pieces around him. LA went all in and just paid whatever because Walmart money is Walmart money. What's the future, do you guys think? Is it more towards this Yankees model or the Oakland A's model?
I personally think the building through the draft is sustainable for a long run versus the Rams are going to be where the Falcons are now and where the Cowboys are headed to next year.
But one team got a ring, and the other didn't.
Yeah, did the Falcons win that Super Bowl or what happened?
No,
I turned it off at halftime like Rob.
There is the Kansas City Chiefs made a 4 or 5 year run. Do you now see them starting to just little self-destruction?
Yeah, I don't think they win. But maybe they win one more, but they're not going to be dynasty.
But I don't think the Rams have more than 2 or 3 years. So my team was in on Deshaun Watson. Arguably, we finished second. I didn't want Deshaun Watson.
I think Cincinnati. I think Cincinnati's the team to watch. They've got a lot of young people signed on rookie contracts.
That's the thing. It's going to come to your situation, and I think if you get lucky on the draft side and you've got a bunch of rookie contracts and a big cap space to fill your voids after a year or so, I think that's money. And I also think, if you're playing on a lot of veterans that are substantial, that make a team, that restructuring and using signing bonuses or whatever to restructure is a big deal. Basically paying with a credit card. But if you can do that and go all in, I mean, the time is now. Like, if you've got the pieces in play, like, what are you waiting on? Don't go. The Rams are a proven model. Don't wait a year or two and try and, half-ass it. Sorry for my language, but you got to either do it or you got to rebuild. Like, there's no in between nowadays.
If Matthew Stafford doesn't come available, the Rams aren't going for it.
But what if the Rams
got to have the quarterback?
What if the Rams didn't win it? And then what? Now you're like, hey, like, are you better at the Titans? Obviously not better for the Titans model because no one's better for the Titans model. But that model of being there, and just hoping some breaks come through and not breaking the future until you can keep reloading. Almost the Baltimore Ravens model. That's a better example. They actually win. And but they're always there as opposed to these ups and downs of teams. Like, is that better than going all in for a year?
I'd rather sell out and go all in and try and win it, and then go back to rebuild mode after that, personally. Or if
you got to pay your dues. I'm sorry, I didn't mean to interrupt. Go ahead.
No, you're fine. Or
so the argument to me back would be, and we've got to get through these other quarterbacks. The Falcons, after their Super Bowl appearance, played Matt Ryan, Julio Jones, Devontae Freeman, Desmond Trufant, and a couple of defensive linemen who are no longer, and this was in 2017 and 18, no longer on the team, and they have the largest dead cap in the history of the NFL. That's the dangers of it.
Yeah, so that's the Yankees' philosophy, right? Paying every.
But they went.
They're screwed this year.
No. They were
in the Super Bowl.
They were the Oakland A's philosophy. Everyone cheat. Then they went for it. I'm gonna try to go for it again. Now you're the Yankees and you don't get it, and now you're stuck in this purgatory of just money spending.
Yeah.
Well, then you have to rebuild. But they went for it and they made it to the big game, and they should have won that game. Obviously.
Yeah, I mean, if you're up 28-3,
that was your shot. I mean,
Cincinnati paid their dues and got
what I'm
Burrow,
saying,
Chase.
Can
Jonah Williams.
Hey, can we do a special? Can we rewatch that?
It's going to take 3-4 years.
Super Bowl and break it down.
I want to do the next segment called "Mining for a Diamond in a Pile of Crap." So let's go through the next group of quarterbacks. We've talked about the elite guys. So let's talk about the other teams who think they are good enough to get to the Super Bowl that went out and grabbed a couple of pieces. And a couple of these teams are horrible, so we won't call them that kind. So
Mariota?
I'll kind of try to go through this. I think the Colts think they're good enough to get to a Super Bowl by adding Matt Ryan. I think the Falcons
are in a rebuild season.
Got a 2-year replacement while they wait on C.J. Stroud or the quarterback from Alabama in Marcus Mariota. Carson Wentz, very interesting to me. Did the Commanders improve their quarterback position?
That's
Mitch
the stupid
Trubisky.
name still.
Yeah,
No.
Mitch Trubisky gets a contract from the Buffalo and signs with the Steelers. And, of course, the Saints, after they lose out on the Watson debacle, re-signed Jameis Winston. Brandon, you said you were ready for it. Which one of those who did good, who did bad?
Colts bad, Falcons bad, Commanders bad, Steelers bad, Saints bad, Denver bad.
Hold on, I got to argue with you a little
Denver
bit.
did good.
If you're saying the Commanders bad, you replaced Carson Wentz with Matt Ryan. Is that not better than it was last year?
The Commanders had Heineke last year, right?
I'm
The
talking
Colts.
about the
He meant the
Colts.
Colts.
Oh, Colts.
Much better offensive line.
So Colts.
What was that logic?
Colts will be slightly better than Carson Wentz, but it's still. I mean, they're going to miss a pass in a playoff game, and it's going to be bad. It's not going to happen. Yeah. So he's on his downslope. Like, they're reaching right now. They're trying to get a veteran to sustain, maybe get a draft pick or two. It's not going to be good for him.
Any of those moves you like?
I like Russ to Denver. That's pretty much it, really. Yeah.
So I'm going to give you. I
hate the rest of it.
All right, Robbie Davis, same question. Same group of quarterbacks that signed. Did anybody find a diamond in the rough?
No. Like, all of these teams
so bad.
Just try to do what you don't want to do in the NFL, which is go close to 500. Like,
is this not the biggest quarterback carousel that we've ever seen in the NFL right now?
Just suck. Like if you're Atlanta, you got Marcus Mariota, that gets you probably 6 wins.
No.
You're drafted in the 13s.
No. Marcus Mariota is not going to get us 6 wins.
No way.
No way.
I think the Colts did well. Personally, I think the Colts did well.
I think Marcus Mariota might get us 3 wins.
Well, you still got to play. You still play Carolina twice. Who's their quarterback? Do they even have a quarterback?
Not yet. They're about to.
And so you got New Orleans twice. Like, sure, you can beat those teams 3 out of 4. Washington's no, all these Matt
it's all
Ryan
bad.
Maybe, but
it's all bad.
I think the Colts did really well.
No, this is all just this is like, hey, we all have bad poker hands. Let's shuffle them around and see if we got anything better. No, you don't.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'm going to go to Raj because, I am a Falcons guy, and I do think the Colts made themselves a contender.
Yeah.
Raj.
No chance.
I think they were already a contender. They got a better quarterback that makes better decisions, and he's got a much better offensive line. They have the NFL's leading rusher. I think they're going to go wide receiver, but their defense got a lot better. They already had Kwity Paye, DeForest Buckner, Darius Leonard. They got Yannick Ngakoue, I can never pronounce his name, from the Raiders, who had a good year. They traded him for Rock Ya-Sin, and then the Raiders went out and got Chandler Jones. But they have awesome linebackers. Their secondary could use work, but their front seven's arguably the best in the NFL, in my opinion. And offensively, like I said, with Quentin Nelson and Ryan Kelly, you're going to stay alive, at least on the left side of the line. Just a much better decision maker, a much more accurate thrower. I agree the Colts generally find a way to tank it, but I think I think they got better. There's no question in my mind.
Yeah, it's an upgrade for sure. But again, it is Matt Ryan on his way out. And that's it's not the Matt Ryan of 8 years ago when he was elite. So
that Matt Ryan still won an MVP 4 years ago.
I mean,
he's
4,000 yards,
so,
20 touchdowns again with a horrible offensive line.
Well, look at the
Yeah,
division they played.
Colts.
Look at the division they played in. You could throw for 4,000 yards, right?
Well, look at the division
come
they
on.
just moved to outside of the Titans.
A labrum
It's
tear.
Houston and Jacksonville.
Wait, I missed
Yeah.
this. Make the Colts contender for what?
They're talking Super Bowl contender for
Whoa,
the
whoa,
Colts.
Look, I didn't
Whoa.
say Super Bowl.
I just said they got
Well,
better.
what-
The
to say
Colts win
with
their
their
division.
freshman.
contender-
I think the
a
Colts
contender
head
at
up are a
life?
better football team, more
Like the
complete
Titans.
football team than the Titans are now.
Yeah, I agree.
And I think if you're saying that Ryan Tannehill versus Matt Ryan, you have a push. They've been the same quarterback for years.
I'll take Tannehill all day long.
I'll take Ryan,
I'll
but
I'll take
the
Ryan.
Robert
See,
Woods
that's where-
trade
All
was
right.
awesome.
That's where
Robert
Well,
Woods
look.
trade was amazing.
you're not asking Matt Ryan to be elite. You're asking him to do
Bobby
what
Trees. We got Bobby Trees, baby.
you asking Matt Ryan to manage the football game while you let Jonathan Taylor and Michael Pittman and maybe the best defense in the AFC win the football game.
Yeah,
We've seen
We've seen Matt Ryan manage a football game when he's had the lead and lost it in the Super Bowl. So I don't want to go there.
I mean,
You
if
already
you want to
did.
talk about one game, that's great. I don't think Matt Ryan lost that game. The
No, he
defense
didn't.
gave up 30-something points, guys. I'm telling you, I know you're Titans fans, but the Colts are the most complete team in that division. And
I
you
agree.
went from a quarterback-prone mistake, Carson Wentz, run him out of town. The Colts even said, we've got to get somebody to play quarterback that won't make mistakes.
I
That's
agree
what
it's
they
an
have.
upgrade. I agree it's an upgrade from Carson
Comes down to
Wentz,
running
but
back.
That's like me saying I need a case that doesn't have any warts on it. Yeah, I can say it, but
It's
doesn't mean
the
I get
same
one.
model the Titans use.
Henry is.
No. The Titans.
Okay.
I think
So-
Henry has peaked, and Jonathan Taylor has
No,
Yeah.
we'll
higher
see. No,
ceiling.
but
I don't disagree there.
What does Vegas say? Who's the favorite to win the division? Let's look at the experts. I don't
Obviously
know.
have a
I
good
don't know the
defense.
answer
And
to
the
this.
Robert Woods
No,
trade,
no.
like I said, that was phenomenal for a 6th-round
That's
pick.
a great
Wow.
trade.
Bobby
It's like-
Trees.
Yeah,
That's what they
Like
call him.
I know. I've heard that. Sorry.
That's
No,
crazy.
I don't think
Almost
Matt
as good as the
Ryan-
Falcons signing Cordero, re-signed for $5 million a year.
I don't
Meanwhile,
think Matt
Mariota
Ryan's
gets $9
washed
million.
up, but,
Jameis gets $14 million.
I don't think he
Cordero needs a new agent.
makes anyone fantastic.
The
Does he have to
Falcons-
be?
So the next question. Are the Falcons and the Steelers in tank mode? Because I don't see any other way that if you sign Mitch Trubisky and Marcus Mariota, you're not trying to be in the top 5 picking next year. Brandon?
100% tank mode. We talked about this towards the last 3 or 4 games of last year. Falcons for sure. Yeah, they're in tank mode. I mean, you
I
have
don't
to
even know
be
how the
at some
Falcons are
point.
going to field the team.
They're in tank mode. I mean,
I disagree
Come
with
on.
Pittsburgh.
You don't
Pittsburgh
think
is
so on Pittsburgh? What do you?
No, the reason why is they have one of the most savvy ownership groups and administrations in football. When you look at that team, they're most of them are built to win now. Receiver wise, with Deontay Johnson and Claypool, Freiermuth has played well. Defensively to it, Cameron Hayward, T.J. Watt. These guys are in the peak of their career. They signed Miles Jack, another ridiculously talented guy. Minkah Fitzpatrick, obviously. I think they're going to make a trade, and if they're going to probably lose one of those guys or draft picks. But if you put a kid like Malik Willis back there, very Lamar Jackson-esque. From what I've seen of Malik Willis, I think that becomes a deadly team. They're really built to win now, aside from Mitch Trubisky, who I think will be back up eventually.
That's what I'm saying. Like, can Trubisky really do that, though? Like,
No,
I get it. They've got all the pieces around them. defensively they're stacked.
I don't think he'll be starting
stacked.
quarterback on day one. I'd be surprised.
Trubisky, I mean, that's horrible. A bit of a reach for me.
He won't be starting quarterback on day one, in my opinion.
Well, so go ahead, Robbie.
They'll acquire or get a rookie.
Who's the number one draft pick everyone wants next year?
Quarterback wise, I don't know that there is one.
Well, yeah. So why are
anywhere?
So if you're Atlanta,
they're not.
It's a terrible quarterback field.
Yeah. So if you're Atlanta,
respectively,
Carolina sucks too. New Orleans is gonna suck. Like, you're picking a bad time to try to tank. So not only they're trying to tank, I think they're trying to see if Arthur Smith and Marcus Mariota can get some chemistry together. I mean, they got talent. Pitts is still there. Like, let's see what happens. There's no time. There's no reason
one
to
wide
tank.
receiver on contract. And the worst pro football rated.
I'm not saying they're good at their jobs. I'm just saying they're not trying to tank.
The Titans
from
are
our
plus 110 to
favorite gambler.
The Colts are plus 125. So it's a neck and neck.
And when they get rid of their dead cap, they got a third rounder for Ryan. I'm not sure about their draft picks coming up, but like I said, Cincinnati paid their dues. Atlanta's in the process of paying their dues. Now, I know as a franchise, they paid a lot of dues throughout the years, but I think they're doing the right thing. It is a winnable division, and maybe you catch lightning in a bottle with Mariota. I don't know, but their future, I think they'll go quarterback quite soon. And like I said, when that dead cap money's off, they're gonna be able to sign whoever they want. And
they're 100.
There's no secret
under a cap next year. Not this
exactly.
Year.
And it's no secret people love Atlanta and players love Atlanta. And I think their draft picks next year. I don't know what they have. I was trying to figure that out.
This year they have the 8th overall. They have 2 seconds from Julio and 2 thirds from the Colts for Matt Ryan.
Wait till the new TV contracts come out.
Did they trade out for
Kyle Pitts?
No, they did not.
Brandon's correct. The salary cap's going to go through the roof.
Yeah. As soon as the new TV contracts come out, I mean, what we're talking about right now is pennies on.
Well, Amazon,
they'll have
YouTube
number one
TV,
overall next year.
They're all bidding on them.
Yeah.
All right, guys.
I think they're doing the right thing. I wouldn't have season tickets this year, but right thing.
Imagine that.
Let's go around and get bet your nuts and final words. We'll start with bet your nuts. My bet your nuts is going to be a simple one. I'm not going to be crazy about it. I'm going to take St. Peter's plus the points. I think they play Purdue great for 30 minutes and then finally lose down the stretch. Give me 12.5 and St. Peter's.
May I go next because I have to use the restroom quickly?
Yes, go next.
Texas Tech -1. Beat you two suckers. I'll be back. I'll take Texas Tech over Duke all day.
Robbie Davis, I know you've got something deep.
Well, I mean, just statistically and historically accurate, since 2011.
Here we go.
Every team that's beat Tennessee is making the Elite Eight. So I'll take Michigan to go to the Elite Eight and beat Villanova.
I will bet you $100 on that game.
We've already bet that.
I already bet $100 on it.
Well, let's make it 200 then. Let's go.
I don't have
bet your nuts.
So my bet your nuts is Miami -2.5 over Iowa State. It's going to happen. They're going to the Elite Eight. Miami's on a heater. You can't beat them right now unless you're Kansas, which they will face in the Elite Eight.
All right, everybody. We've ran long tonight. We'll get final words, but I need you. Go subscribe. We picked up 1 new subscriber today. Thank you very much. We had a 40-hour watch on our Clayton Powell Lee video, the Georgia Tech young signee. Next week, we're trying to pull a miracle off and get top 100 rated player from South Alabama, wide receiver Gerardus Powell, on a special edition. We'll let you know about that. He's right now rated as a 3rd-round pick. So we're trying to get that done. So please, for all the good stuff coming up, River City Media, like, subscribe, all that good thing. Final words, Raj Mehta, we waited on you. Final words from Raj Mehta needs to be done in.
Can't hear him.
You're muted. Let me unmute him. All right, Brandon James.
3 years into this, we still got to figure out how to work the internet.
What's your final words, Brandon James?
Final words. Arizona's going to win the NCAA championship. Feedback there. Yeah, I like Arizona. They're going to win it all. That's my final words. It's not my bet you're nuts. We'll see how the Elite Eight goes. We'll continue this conversation next week.
All right, Raj Mehta, did you figure out how to work the internet?
Barely. I'm not even going to bother with a defense. Anyways, I think you made it great. Well, first of all, Robbie said it earlier. I cannot agree more. Was just in Greenville, South Carolina, and I almost jumped off the roof. Every game I've seen, the NCAA officiating has been terrible. Refs constantly out of position. What we say, like we've said many times, calling situational fouls. Like I said, the USC game, Miami deserved to win, 18-3 turnovers. But first of all, there was no foul. Second of all, it may have been on the ground. Third, there were 3 seconds left. You just don't call that. They've been deciding too many games and determining too many games. And, I've said it before and I'll say it again, figure out a way to move up the tournament and coincide with the NBA All-Star break or something so we can get real officials in here, or with all these NIL deals and more money with the NCAA take a percentage and pay these guys, because during the week they are insurance salesmen and other things. Not that I have anything against the insurance sales industry. The other point was, Randall, you absolutely nailed it with this unprecedented quarterback swing. I think like in 1984, like if yes, and I was alive then, or 86, Jim Kelly gets traded and Montana and Marino, just doesn't happen. It's insane. I think the Cincinnati Bengals have created that Moneyball blueprint, and they got a whole offensive skill set. Mixon, Burrow, Jonah Williams, T. Higgins from tanking, a couple guys on defense. I look at what Houston did was brilliant. I think Cleveland's going to be terrible, and they're going to get ridiculous. They'll have 2 first-round picks in the top 7, in my opinion. All these teams are trading for draft picks, for draft capital. And, we talked about salary caps and, having to win on rookie contracts. The NFL's proven lately, if you pay one guy, if you don't win right away, you're screwed.
Very true. Very true. Robbie, we'll let you hit last in this lineup. I did want to go back. We didn't touch on it, but the Chiefs do trade Tyreek Hill today for a first, a second, and 2 future picks. Do you know that still relieves the Miami Dolphins?
Couldn't pay him.
6 people or something.
Could not pay him.
He was traded for the most people ever. That's incredible.
The Dolphins still have 2 first-round picks, even after trading one of them today.
That's how bad they've been for the last decade. So
it's 2 of the answer is my question. They did sign Chase Edmonds, but I don't think 2 is the answer.
I want to touch real fast. I spent after Iamaleava committed. I was ready to come to this show today and have a knockdown drag out with Raj about who was better, Iamaleava or Malik Nelson or Arch Manning or Dante Martin. What I found in watching film, and I am a former scout for Rivals and 24/7 Sports at different point. I was the lead recruiter on Trevor Lawrence at one point. I was involved with Freddie Kitchen's recruitment back in his day. I have never seen a class with 4 quarterbacks as elite as these 4 guys are. Any 4 of them, be it Manning, Nelson, Iamaleava, or Martin, would have been the number 1 quarterback in any of the last 5 years. This, to me, is as good or better, maybe even a little deeper than the class that had Lawrence, Fields, and Matt Corral in it.
I agree.
I came in here to argue my point why Tennessee's guy was the best. And what I found was every level of quarterback in those top 4. Malik Nelson and Arch Manning are very finished products, kids that have probably had advantages that the other 2 didn't have. Dante Martin, who's up in Michigan, is as wide open as any recruit. He's Michigan, LSU. He's all over, is a specimen of a quarterback. And Iamaleava has the most electric arm I've seen in 20 years.
Jaden Rashada as well. Another 5-star. 5 5-star quarterbacks. That's insane.
There's a kid from Alabama called Vicente, who is the 7th-ranked quarterback, who I truly believe in last year's class, even at number 7, would have been the number 1 quarterback in the country. I sent y'all a little bit of some tape. I've got some other stuff I'm going to upload on River City Media. They are special talent at the quarterback position in high school football this year. So if you're a guy that likes recruiting, I'm going to challenge you. Go watch tape of all these guys because they are special. Robbie Davis.
Yeah, so I had something different to say, but I'm going to piggyback on what Raj said because I think it's very important. The NCAA in this tournament, which is almost perfect, and they rely on it just being entertainment, and so many people not watching it to get ratings, and they don't care about officiating. They just care about if their bracket's right or not. But for people who watch basketball all year long and who depend on this as being the final outcome, it's inexcusable how bad their officiating is. And Coburn from Illinois, man, he got mugged every single time down. It was like the Shaq treatment, but he wasn't getting any fouls. And it's like they get eliminated against Houston because of that. And then, USC, like, regardless of what you think of the game, let the players finish that game. That was a great game, back and forth. Tennessee lost a couple years ago with a kick-out 3 against Purdue. They fouled the guy's leg, kicked him. There's just too much.
That was a great team, too.
Inconsistency in this tournament. Especially with 5 fouls. Because 5 fouls is so crucial in these games. You get 2 in the first half. You can literally, officials can change the outcome of games within 2 minutes of a game. Walker Kessler for Auburn got 2 fouls. He played 13 minutes that entire game. Auburn wasn't going to win regardless, but that changed the game. And so the NCAA,
they have agendas. Sorry, that's all I wanted to say. The agendas. Call this in the first half. Don't call it in the second.
I don't know what the solution is besides pay these guys more because they're making billions off this tournament, and it's been terrible all year long. But at least when you're playing in conference, the conference refs ref you, and you know what you expect. Like
what they're looking for.
Teddy Valentine's the worst ref I've ever seen. But when he plays, when he's in Knoxville, we know what he's going to call. He's going to call every little thing and call technicals for everything. Oh my gosh! Back up. The technical. Who was it that did they call?
The Illinois kid that.
That was the worst call I've ever seen in my life. And that's the NCAA tournament. Like, they're just so bad, and it's got to change. It's not good enough that the product is fantastic. It's all entertaining. Be better, hire them full time, give them benefits, and make that their career.
That is an excellent point. Also, we want to bring up, it only took me until I think I can watch basketball now again since the Michigan lost. I struggled to watch basketball the next 2 days. It's rough when you go out of the tournament. Also, here on River City Media, I'm trying to get where I'm getting better light. We're starting to release little 15-minute blurbs, 15 minutes this. I did one last Sunday. Some of the guys are going to be doing them. It's a way to grow the YouTube page. We'll always have this 90-minute, 2-hour show on Wednesday night, but shorter segments coming your way from each of us. We'll look for it in the future. Anybody else got anything?
I'm able to watch basketball now just like you. Sorry, it took me.
Yeah.
I couldn't watch the games after a loss the last weekend.
No,
and if I were a Tennessee fan, I couldn't watch tomorrow.
Tennessee lost to Michigan.
No.
I went and ate 6,000 calories.
Still trying to win the last game of the year, man. Still trying to win.
I'm not a Vols fan. I was disgusted by that loss. It sucked because I had him in my bracket. But I was really happy that we beat Loyola. I really thought we were going to lose that game. We are not a good team this year, and we were very inconsistent. And, when you're playing a team like that, it's tough. So I was happy to win that and make it to the second round. I knew we were not making it past the second round.
We all get cute in our picks. Like Ohio State was a top 10 team when they were healthy. Don't get cute, man. Every year I tell myself that, and I mess it up. Although in our bracket, I think I'm okay. But I'm relying on Arizona to win it all, and I'm screwed there.
Well,
you're not. Arizona is legit.
One final point about one of my favorite players in the last decade, Juwan Howard.
E.J. Liddell.
Juwan Howard made a great decision at the end of that game. We're going to go zone because Kenny Chandler can't keep driving past everybody, and we're going to make him pass it. And the shooters are going to either make it or they're going to miss. But we're going to live and die by that because Kenny Chandler can get to the bucket every.
And that's what happened. You're exactly right. That transition right there, that was a great coaching move by his point, because there were that 3 or 4 minute span where he just drove the ball every time he could get to the basket anytime he wanted to.
Randall needs to close this out. Randall needs to close this out. Zone against the SEC. That's all you have to do. No shooters. Zone against the SEC. Sorry, Randall.
No, that's not
true. He's got to close this out. He's got to close this out.
Robbie Davis.
If they're shooting.
Raj Mehta. Before we hit 2 hours, good night and God bless.
Peace.